I'm 78 years old, and there's something I need to tell you that's going to hurt. For 50 years, I've carried a secret so heavy it's bent my spine. Every single day for half a century, I've thought about a woman who isn't my wife. A woman I never kissed. A woman I never held. A woman I loved more than I've ever loved anyone, and I never told her. Her name was Sarah, and she married someone else because I was too afraid to say 3 words. You think regret fades with time. It doesn't. It calcifies. It becomes part of your skeleton. I wake up every morning at 78 years old, and the first thought in my head is still her. Not my wife of 47 years, not my children, not my grandchildren, her. My name is Robert, and I destroyed my entire life because I was too scared to be honest. And the worst part? I did it on purpose. I chose safety over truth. I chose cowardice over love. And I've paid for that choice every single day since. It was September 1974. I was 28 years old. Sarah was 26. We worked together at an advertising firm in Boston, one of those old brick buildings near the harbor where the floors creaked and the coffee was always burnt. She was a junior copywriter. I was an account manager. We weren't supposed to be friends, let alone anything more. But we were friends, best friends. We'd have lunch together every day at the same deli on the corner. Pastrami on rye for me, turkey club for her, always extra pickles. We'd talk for hours, about everything, about our childhoods and our dreams and books we'd read and movies we'd seen. She made me laugh harder than anyone I'd ever met. She saw things in ways I'd never considered. She was brilliant and funny and kind and so goddamn beautiful it hurt to look at her sometimes. I was in love with her by October, completely, devastatingly in love. The kind of love where you feel sick when they walk into a room. The kind where you memorize the way they drink their coffee and the exact pitch of their laugh. The kind that rewrites your entire understanding of what it means to be alive. And I never said a word. Every day I'd sit across from her at that deli and I'd think, today I'll tell her. And every day I'd chicken out. I'd make an excuse. The timing wasn't right. We were at work. It would make things awkward. What if she didn't feel the same way? What if telling her ruined our friendship? What if? Fear has 1,000 voices, and every single one of them is a liar. December 1974, the company Christmas party. It was at some hotel ballroom downtown. Terrible music and cheap wine and everyone pretending to have fun. Sarah wore a green dress. I remember it like it was this morning. Dark green, velvet with these little pearl buttons down the back. She looked like a dream I couldn't afford to have. We danced, just once. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas was playing. She put her head on my shoulder, and I thought I was going to die right there. Just collapse from the sheer impossible weight of loving someone this much and being too afraid to say it. We swayed in that ballroom, and she whispered, "Robert, this is nice." And I said, "Yeah, it is." That's it. That's all I said. Yeah, it is. I could have said, "Sarah, I'm in love with you." I could have said, "I think about you every moment of every day." I could have said, "You're the reason I wake up in the morning and the reason I can't sleep at night." But I said, "Yeah, it is." The song ended. She pulled back, looked up at me, and there was something in her eyes. Something open, something waiting. She was giving me a moment, a chance, a door standing wide open, and all I had to do was walk through it. I smiled, said something stupid about the music, and I walked away. I walked away from the only thing that ever mattered. January 1975. Sarah came to lunch and she looked different, nervous, happy, scared. She sat down with her turkey club and she said, "Robert, I need to tell you something." My heart stopped. I thought, this is it. She's going to tell me she has feelings for me. She's going to say what I've been too afraid to say. She said, "I met someone." 3 words, and my entire world ended. His name was David. She'd met him at her sister's wedding in November. He was a lawyer, handsome, confident, successful, everything I wasn't. They'd been seeing each other for 6 weeks. It was getting serious. "I really like him," she said, and she was smiling and I was dying. "That's great," I said. I'm happy for you. I wasn't happy. I was burning alive from the inside out. For the next 3 months, I watched her fall in love with David. She'd come to lunch and tell me about their dates, about the restaurant he took her to, about the flowers he sent, about how he made her laugh, about how he'd told her he loved her after just 2 months. Can you believe it? She said. 2 months and he already said it. Some people just know, I said. I'd known for 4 months and I still hadn't said a word. April 1975. Sarah came to lunch and she had a ring on her finger. Small diamond, simple band. She was engaged. We're getting married in June, she said. It's fast, I know. But Robert, I've never been this sure about anything. I looked at that ring and I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table. I wanted to grab her and say, "Don't marry him. Marry me. I love you. I've loved you since the day I met you and I'll love you until I die." Instead, I said, "Congratulations. He's a lucky guy." She smiled, touched my hand, said, "You'll find someone too, Robert. Someone perfect for you." I already had, and I was watching her marry someone else. That night I got drunk, really drunk. Showed up at my friend Michael's apartment at midnight, barely able to stand. He let me in, made me coffee, listened to me ramble. "I'm in love with her," I finally said. "I've been in love with her for months and I never told her, and now she's marrying someone else, and I don't know what to do." Michael looked at me like I was the stupidest person alive. "Tell her, right now, go to her apartment and tell her." "I can't. She's engaged." "So what? She's not married yet. Tell her the truth. Let her make an informed decision." "But what if she chooses him?" "She's already choosing him," Michael yelled, "because you never gave her another option. You're letting her marry this guy without even knowing how you feel. That's not noble, Robert. That's cowardice." He was right. God, he was right. But I didn't listen. I told myself it was too late. I told myself I couldn't interfere with her happiness. I told myself that if she really loved me, she would have said something. I told myself 1,000 lies to justify my fear. June 14th, 1975, her wedding day. I was invited. Of course I was invited. We were best friends. I almost didn't go. I spent the morning staring at my closet, trying to decide if I could survive watching her marry someone else. But I went, because not going would have required an explanation I couldn't give. The ceremony was at a church in Cambridge. Small, intimate, maybe 60 people. Sarah looked beautiful. White dress, simple veil, flowers in her hair. She looked happy. I sat in the back, watched her walk down the aisle on her father's arm, watched David's face when he saw her, watched them exchange vows, watched him kiss her, watched everyone applaud. And I sat there with a smile on my face, dying inside. At the reception, Sarah found me. "Robert, I'm so glad you came." "Wouldn't miss it," I said. "Dance with me?" she asked. We danced, same song as the Christmas party. "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." They'd requested it special. She said it was her favorite. We swayed and she said, "Robert, you're my best friend. You know that, right?" "I know," I said. "I'm so lucky to have you in my life." And right then, in that moment, with my arms around her for the last time, I almost said it. I almost whispered, "I love you. I've always loved you. Don't do this." But I didn't, because she was married now, because it was too late, because I'd waited too long and this was my punishment. The song ended. She hugged me, said, "Thank you for being here," and she went back to her husband. I left before dinner was served, drove home, packed a bag, and left Boston that night. Didn't tell anyone where I was going, just drove. Ended up in Portland, Maine. Got a hotel room and stayed there for 3 days, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out how to survive the rest of my life. I never went back to that job. I called and quit over the phone, never saw Sarah again. 3 months later, I met Patricia. She was a waitress at a diner near my new apartment in Portland. Pretty, sweet, easy to talk to. She liked me. She made that clear. And I was so goddamn tired of being alone with my grief that I said yes when she asked me out. We dated for 8 months. She fell in love with me. I didn't fall in love with her, but I liked her. She was kind. She was there. And when she started talking about the future, I didn't stop her. We got married in May 1976. Small ceremony, just family. Patricia wore a cream-colored dress. She was happy. I was numb. I told myself I'd learn to love her. I told myself love grows over time. I told myself it was enough. It wasn't. Patricia and I have been married for 47 years. We have 3 children, 5 grandchildren. We own a house in Augusta. We take the same vacation every year to Cape Cod. We have dinner together every night. We watch Jeopardy before bed. And I have never loved her the way I loved Sarah. Not once. Not for a single day in 47 years. Patricia is a good woman. She doesn't deserve this. She doesn't deserve a husband who's been emotionally absent their entire marriage. A husband who's been faithful physically, but has been in love with someone else for half a century. Does she know? I don't think so. I've been careful. I've played the role. Dutiful husband, present father, reliable partner. But I've been performing. For 47 years, I've been performing. Every anniversary, I smile and tell her I love her. And what I mean is, I'm fond of you. I appreciate you. I'm grateful for the life we've built. But I don't mean what those words are supposed to mean. She'll say, "Robert, what are you thinking about?" And I'll say, "Nothing, sweetheart." But I'm thinking about Sarah. Always Sarah. I've thought about her every single day for 50 years, every single day. I've wondered what her life is like, if she's happy, if David turned out to be a good husband, if they had children, if she ever thinks about me, if she ever wondered why I disappeared. I've imagined 1,000 different versions of what could have been. Sarah and I married. Sarah and I traveling the world. Sarah and I growing old together. Sarah and I dancing in our kitchen at 3 a.m. for no reason. Sarah and I actually living instead of just surviving. I've written her letters I never sent, hundreds of them. They're in a box in my office, hidden behind old tax returns where Patricia will never find them. Dear Sarah, it's been 5 years and I still can't breathe without you. Dear Sarah, it's been 10 years and I ruined my life because I was afraid. Dear Sarah, it's been 20 years and I love you more now than I did then. Dear Sarah, it's been 30 years and I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Letters I'll never send because what's the point? She made her choice, I made mine. We live with the consequences. But here's the thing I didn't understand at 28. Not choosing is still a choice. Silence is still an answer. My fear made the decision for me, and I've paid for it every day since. 10 years ago, I looked her up online. It took me 3 days to work up the courage. I found her Facebook page. She's still married to David. They live in Seattle. They have 2 daughters. She looks happy in her photos. Older, but still beautiful. Still her. I spent hours looking through her pictures. Birthday parties and family vacations and graduations. A whole life I'm not part of. A whole life I could have been part of if I'd been braver. I wrote her a message. Took me 6 hours to write 2 paragraphs. Just said hello, said I hoped she was well, said I'd thought about her over the years and wondered how she was doing. I stared at that message for 2 hours, cursor hovering over the send button. And I deleted it. Because what was I going to say if she responded? Hi, Sarah. I've been in love with you for 40 years while married to someone else. Just wanted you to know. Hope you're well. 5 years ago, I saw her, in person, after 45 years. I was in Seattle for a conference. I knew she lived there. I told myself I wasn't going to try to find her. I told myself it was a bad idea. I told myself to let it go. But on my last day, I went to the neighborhood where her Facebook said she lived. Just drove around, no plan, no purpose, just driving. And I saw her, walking out of a grocery store. Reusable bags in her hands, gray in her hair. laugh lines around her eyes, still her. I pulled over, sat in my rental car, and watched her load groceries into a Subaru, watched her check her phone, watched her drive away. And I cried, right there in a Safeway parking lot in Seattle. I cried like a child. Because seeing her made it real in a way it hadn't been for 45 years. She wasn't a memory anymore. She wasn't a fantasy. She was a real person living a real life that I wasn't part of. I flew home the next day. Patricia picked me up from the airport, asked how the conference was. I said it was fine. She asked if anything interesting happened. No, I said. Same old thing. Last year I had a heart attack, mild one. Spent 2 nights in the hospital. Patricia was beside herself with worry. The kids flew in, everyone fussing over me, grateful I was alive. And all I could think was, what if I had died? What if I died having never told her? The nurse asked me if there was anything I needed, anyone I wanted to call. I almost said her name. I'm 78 years old now. My health is failing. The doctor says I have maybe 5 years if I'm lucky. Patricia is planning our 50th anniversary party. 2 more years. 50 years of marriage to a woman I respect but don't love. And I'm still thinking about Sarah. Do you know what question haunts me most? Not, what if I'd told her? I know the answer to that. Maybe she would have chosen me. Maybe not. But at least I would have tried. At least I would have been honest. At least I would have given her the choice. No, the question that haunts me is this. Who was I before I became a coward? I was brave once. When I was young, I was the kid who climbed the highest tree. I was the teenager who asked the pretty girl to prom, even though I was terrified. I was the college student who moved across the country with $200 in my pocket and no plan.